Jack during meditation.
I'm a musician and I want everything loud.
Thank you. That helps me because that way I speak in my more normal voice.
Always tell me what you need. I don't,
Good. We're working it out.
Welcome to Wednesday Night Satsang. This Sunday at 11 a.m., join Reverend Michael Gott with the topic, What Are You Thinking? Something in the universe responds to the thoughts we think. This mirroring is sometimes called the law of cause and effect, karma, or the law of attraction. In Unity, we sometimes call it law of mind action. Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind is a catchphrase we use to remind us that where we place our attention and focus truly does matter. Through our thoughts, we co-create our reality for the good and the not so good. The power of this principle is that we can change our experience if we're willing to change our thinking. At 9:45 a.m., Spanish language service will feature the same talk title, What Are You Thinking? In Spanish. Please join Reverend Claudia Olmos at 9:45 in the Pyramid. Survivors of suicide will gather this Tuesday, the 17th at 7 p.m. in the chapel. This group is for people who are coping with the devastating loss of a loved one to suicide. This group offers a safe and loving space for suicide survivors to come for comfort and healing. If you've lost a loved one to suicide, you don't have to cope alone. This group is here to help you navigate and recover through this loss. At Wednesday Night Satsang next week, join Reverend Jean Marie Eck at 7 p.m. in the chapel. Her topic is Wise Heart, Who Looks in the Mirror? The Nature of Consciousness. When we look in the mirror, we may be surprised that our bodies look older, even though we don't feel older. That is because the body exists in time and space, though the consciousness that is aware of it exists outside of time and never ages. As we continue this series on Jack Kornfield's The Wise Heart, we'll explore the two dimensions of consciousness and how to turn towards our essence. Namaste. Outside of time and never ages. As we continue this series on Jack Kornfield's The Wise Heart, we'll explore the two dimensions of consciousness and how to turn towards our essence. Namaste.
Let us breathe in this now moment as we turn within in prayer to begin our time together, allowing the vibration of the chime to awaken us to our hearts, to the divine love and wisdom that is within us, that is guiding and leading us. Breathing and allowing your heart to soften and open with compassion to all you have experienced this day, anything you have held against yourself or have struggled with, knowing that this is all a part of being human and all of what connects us in knowing each other and having these experiences. And so having love and compassion for yourself and how your experience is interconnected with all others. All those 8 billion people on the planet, we're all connected, and so we feel our compassion, our love, our understanding, our interbeingness as we join together for this time, knowing that we are all one in God. We are love, and our love connects us together. And so it is with a heart of compassion and generosity, radiant light, we move into this time and feel ourselves fully present for this experience. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. Let's share in chanting together as we continue our opening experience with this beautiful chant. I am opening up. So much a part of our Wednesday night music that we so love. Please join us in singing. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the One. So now we shift to our mantra chant, this ancient Buddhist chant, Om Mani Padme Hum, a chant of liberation, of freedom from suffering, freedom to express your true nature. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum.
Focusing on the breath, we center in, feeling the heart space, consciously aware of the breath entering and exhaling. And I invite you to imagine a light inside you. Your inner light, the conscious light of being. And as you focus on that light, allow it to expand. Knowing that you draw from an infinite and eternal source. And if you don't feel much light inside you now, know that you can borrow light. You can ask for it and receive it. That light is always available. And you can draw on it. And now, focusing on the body. Is there any space of discomfort? Any place of dis-ease? Becoming aware of all the intricate interactions of the body. Shining the light of compassion on any place of discomfort. Allowing that light to fill every cell. All the nerve endings, bones, tissue, all of the body that operates here in this space, in this universe. Shining that inner light, that conscious light of being. Allowing that light to fill the entire full space. And being grateful for having this way to conduct ourselves through the world, to move through the world, to experience this world. Grateful for all the systems of the body working together. And now calling to mind a mental, emotional, or spiritual state. Something going on with how you are, who you are, where you are, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And loving yourself there, whatever it is. Accepting yourself. Comforting yourself, spiritually embracing yourself, and allowing the light of compassion to fill the entire full space of your mental state, emotional state, spiritual state of being, drawing on that eternal source, always replenishing, always nurturing, always available, allowing the light to fill the entire space of being. And now focusing on a situation, maybe at home, at work, with the neighbors. Is there some situation that is bringing you discomfort, where you feel incompletion, where you feel a lack of balance? And loving yourself in that space. Allowing yourself to feel comforted, allowing yourself to feel guided. Knowing that the light expands from within you onto your path. So the way is lit. You see the path before you. And you know what actions to take, what words to speak, what emotional vibrations to put out there into the situation. What might need to be released? What can you let go of? And once you release, what can you allow to fill that empty space? More love, more light, more compassion, more kindness. Allowing yourself to feel balanced, unattached, complete, so that you can move forward freely. And now focusing on a situation in the world. Where would you like to see more light? Where from your focus, from your attention, from your thoughts, can you bring more light? For people affected, for the planet, for plants, for animals, for wherever that situation is in the world. Again, drawing on this inexhaustible source, this eternal source. Knowing that you are a conduit of light, a revealer of light. A prophet. Breathing deeply, consciously aware of this breath. Grateful to be here now with all the situations, all the experiences. Allowing yourself to feel prepared, to feel fulfilled, to feel ready to release and receive, to be present in joy. To feel harmonious, revealing peace. And so returning awareness to the body and the space where you are. Grateful for this conveyance through the world. And maybe moving your hands or your shoulders or just whatever it takes to feel again aware of mind, body, and spirit in one whole contemplative, receptive being. We know that we are here with purpose and meaning to meet whatever needs to be met. And so we say yes. And so it is. Amen.
So as we bring our energy and attention into this space, we feel ourselves open, and Reverend Shirley brought us so beautifully into a consciousness of ourselves and our heart connection with the world, sending out that energy. And so one of the ways that we do that in a tangible way is by giving our gifts to this ministry, and knowing that not only does your offering go to the work that we do here, but that Unity also gives to organizations that are doing good in the world. And so your gift is expanded out into organizations here in Houston as well as in the world who are doing the work of spirit and expressing the teachings that we talk about, but in a different way, in the way of the work that they're doing. And so I invite you now, as you hold your gifts, as you give here in the chapel or online, whether it's through text to give or a website or other apps that we have available or where we accept offerings, that you give in an awareness that spiritual principle tells us that as we give, so shall we receive, and it will be multiplied to us many times over. So please join me in blessing our offering this evening with our offering prayer. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive, and so it is. So many things we can't control, so many hurts that happen every day, so many heartaches that pierce the soul, so much pain that won't ever go away. How can we make it better? How can we make it through? What can we do when there's nothing we can do? We can be kind, we can take care of each other, we can remember that deep down inside we all need the same thing. And maybe we'll find when we are there for each other that together we'll weather whatever tomorrow may bring. Nobody really wants to fight. Nobody really wants to go to war. Everyone wants to make things right. So what are we always fighting for? Does nobody want to see it? Does nobody understand? The power to heal is right here in our hand. We can be kind, we can take care of each other, we can remember that deep down inside we all need the same thing. And maybe we'll find when we are there for each other that together we'll weather whatever tomorrow may bring. And it's not enough to talk about it, it's not enough to sing a song. We must walk the walk about it, you and I, do or die. We've got to try to get along. We can be kind, we can take care of each other, we can remember that deep down inside we all need the same thing.
So as human beings, we experience separation. I know that I'm separate from the furniture. I know that that chair is separate from that chair. We all know that we're individual, separate beings. And this is good. This is the way we interpret the world. We interpret the world with our senses, with our sight, sound, hearing, taste, smell, touch. So this is necessary for survival. If I'm walking on a bridge, I need to know where the bridge ends, what's separate, where the bridge is, and where's not the bridge. So separation is the structure of life in this universe. It's a condition of being human. So this is normal, natural. It's the way of the world. In contrast, there's a mystical experience. In the mystical experience, we know that everything comes from one and that we are all part of the one, that all is one. So in the mystical experience, we know that we're all expressions of this one infinite, divine, eternal consciousness. And it's kind of like seeing the game of the universe. You might experience it as a joy, bubbling up happiness, joy of being able to see, oh, this is the game we're playing, that we're all expressions of this one infinite eternal, but we're experiencing life as me, as you, as dolphins, dragonflies, ants, or whatever, just all the myriad ways of being and expressing here in this universe. So you may experience, that mystical oneness with serenity, with a quiet, with silence, with solitude. You may experience it again as just like overwhelming joy at the all in all. So we're doing the series on the book, The Wise Heart, a guide to the universal teachings of Buddhist psychology. And Buddhism, in this book, talks about suffering. So as human beings, we experience suffering. Where does it come from? The root of suffering, the basis of suffering, is due to our limited view of thinking that we are separate. And they call it blindness, but that's an inner blindness, not a physical blindness. So we suffer at a personal level sometimes. We experience fear, anxiety, aggression. And we also suffer at the group level, as a community, as a world. We experience, quote, injustice, racism, exploitation, and violence. Here in the West, in America, sometimes we suffer because we feel unworthy. We feel separate. We feel alone. And Jack Kornfield tells a story in the book that I like. It's a international conference meeting of Buddhist teachers from all over the world. This is in 1989. And he says the Westerners bring up this idea of self-hatred, of feeling this common and enormous problem of unworthiness and self-criticism and self-hatred. And this was shocking to the Asian teachers. In fact, he says that the Dalai Lama was there, and it took the Dalai Lama 10 minutes with his translator to get this concept. What are they talking about? What is this self-hatred? And then once he understood what this term was about, he expressed extreme surprise, and he said, but that's a mistake. Every being is precious. And so this is something that maybe we experience more in the West, is that we have to earn respect. We have to earn worth and value. Whereas maybe in the Eastern traditions, we have worth and value and respect and dignity and nobility just because we exist, just because of the fact that we exist. So how do we deal with pain? Sometimes we learn to mask our feelings. We learn to numb ourselves. We learn survival skills, being defensive, withdrawing, getting angry. We learn our angry act. We learn all the things that we do to protect ourselves. So what's the solution to suffering? It's compassion. Compassion is the pathway to healing. Compassion is loving kindness. As he says, compassion is seeing our struggles with kindly eyes. So how do we reveal and generate compassion? As human beings in this world, how do we reveal, how do we generate, how do we bring more compassion forth from our beings? It's by being aware of our interconnection, our interconnectedness, by seeing beyond our separate personal selves. For example, the body is a multitude of systems all working together. People are connected to the earth. We depend on the earth for water, food, shelter. Societies involve interconnection on many levels. So it's part of the social contract that we're going to use our skills and our resources and share them. So, for example, our ancestors, they were baking bread or making tools or building structures, making shoes, sewing together warm clothes, just giving their skills for the betterment of the community, for the whole. So in this book, Jack Kornfield makes the statement that all people are connected in consciousness. All people are connected in consciousness. And this is going to be delved into more in the subsequent chapters of the book. But basically, we're all part of one giant spiral. And everything is in the spiral. Nothing is left out. And we're all progressing. The spiral is progressing. So compassion is natural. Compassion is a natural outcome of feeling connected. It's effortless. It arises naturally. So we experience compassion not by striving for it, not by trying to achieve it, but by releasing our sense of lack and limitation. And human development hinges on compassion. If we're going to progress as a species, we need compassion. We need to feel it, release it, and experience it together. So Jack Kornfield says, our individual lives and our whole society are built upon innumerable acts of kindness. Our individual lives and our whole society are built on innumerable acts of kindness. This is how society operates together. I agreed not to steal your food. You agreed to maintain the social contract. So I'll tell you a story. I have from a large family, and we like to take spring break together. So several years ago, we went to a small town in southern Colorado. It's called Pagosa Springs, Colorado. And there's a little river that runs through the town. There's hot springs. And so it's fun to get an inner tube, get a float, walk up to the park, and then just float down the river rapids. So I was there with 13 kids from 4 different families. And these kids are different ages, different heights, different hair color, different body types, just a variety of different kids. So from my vantage point, no matter where I looked, there was a high probability I was going to see some kids from the group that I was with. So whether I looked up the river or down the river or on one bank or on the other bank, pretty much anywhere I looked, there was going to be some of these kids that were part of my family. And what I experienced is that if everywhere I looked there were kids that I was related to, then I cared about all the kids. It's like all of these kids could be part of the group that I'm in. And I think that's how kids were raised in the past, right? The whole village would raise the children. The whole community would raise the children. So when we see this interconnection, when I felt potentially connected to each and every other being there on the river, I cared. I cared about all of them. So this is how interconnection generates compassion. And the compassion just arises naturally. So what are our practices? What are we about as a spiritual community? Jack Kornfield says we are opening the boundaries of consciousness. We're opening the boundaries of consciousness. What does that mean? We're expanding awareness. We're providing space for revelation, for realizations, for insights. We're opening doors to possibilities. We're bringing forth our deepest nature. Some people would say our truest nature. And as we do this for ourselves, we affect all of humanity. It just happens naturally. So as we open the boundaries of consciousness, the inevitable result, the inevitable outcome is increasing compassion for all beings. It's like if you had a bunch of butterflies in a container and you go outside and you open that container, those butterflies are just going to fly out naturally. That's just what happens. It's a natural outcome. Or have you ever taken a piece of foam and you try to squish it up? You try to make it contained. You squish it up real small, but as soon as you release it, it's going to expand out and fill the space again. It's just a natural outcome. So one section in this chapter is compassion is courageous. Compassion is courage. It's courageous to open your heart to compassion. This means releasing fear, releasing defensiveness, living with trust, living with perseverance, believing that you're going to be okay no matter what. And it's a lot easier to armor up, right? It's a lot easier to build those walls, build a moat around your castle, shut the doors, shut the windows, don't let anybody in. Been there, done that. It can be a lot harder to live with an open heart. But Jack Kornfield says, quote, closing down is not the way. Closing down is not the way. So yes, life involves loss, pain, uncertainty. But our calling is, as he says, to stand up with dignity and let the heart respond. Stand up with dignity and let the heart respond. And we've got our examples. Martin Luther King Jr., who we just celebrated this past Monday, and Gandhi, and these people who faced persecution and pain and suffering, and they still lived with an open heart and showed up with trust and perseverance. So a Buddhist teaching involves the fierce sword of compassion. The fierce sword of compassion. Compassion sometimes means saying no. So, quote, there is a yes in compassion and there is also a no, said with the same courage of heart. So we say yes to sustaining life and nurturing well-being. Generally, we have permission to sustain life and nurture well-being. And sometimes this means leaving behind relationships and activities that are destructive, that are not nurturing our being. So we work for our highest and best. And Jack Kornfield says, compassion brings us back to life. Compassion brings us back to life. This is how healing happens. This is how healing occurs. This is how we heal ourselves, our families, our communities, and the world. We cultivate this sense of interconnection, this sense of oneness, and then compassion is revealed through us and as us. So this is our mission. This is our task. This is what we do as a spiritual community. We do these practices, meditation, prayer, taking classes, learning, expanding our minds so that we can see and feel this interconnection with all life, all beings. And then that light is revealed, that compassion comes forth. Namaste. Namaste.
Thank you, Reverend Shirley.
Thank you. I'm enjoying this book. It's got a lot of good specifics and stories and stuff like that.
Yeah. I continue to enjoy his personal shares of his experiences. You really go deep. Compassion is really a spiritual tool for opening to our highest human potential, our highest expression, not using that animal survival part of the brain, but we're just really I just see it as not only the evolvement of ourselves, but that how we collectively evolve as we come together more and we hear more stories of others. I find that when I can really be with the story of somebody who has a totally different experience than me, that I know it's not mine, I can't relate to it as far as like I've been there, like I haven't been there. It's their story, and I can listen, and then let it just go break my heart open. I'm like, okay, like I'm with you, even though we're different. You have your experience, I have mine, and yet there's this connection through compassion.
And I think too that can be, in my experience, the gift of my own suffering that has occurred in the past. It may be not mirror exactly what somebody else experienced, but if I've experienced abandonment, I've experienced rejection, I've experienced not enoughness, which I have all of these. When I hear another story from someone else that is similar, it's not about comparing my story to theirs, but it's, I can meet you there because I've experienced the same thing. This isn't a personal, anything that's wrong with you or wrong with me. This is part of the human condition, as you talked about, of separation, right? So we can actually use our own suffering to then be able to meet and have compassion for other people in theirs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, that feeling. We all share that. We've all had fear and shame and guilt and suffering, as you were talking about, and we can meet each other at that level.
Yeah, and it's so good to have this space where healing occurs. I know healing happens here, and there's so many stories and testimonies. I'm sure we all have our own, but I just feel like, wow, there are so many people out there who do feel separated and who are suffering, and all they have to do is reach out to a place like this where this is what we do. This is what we're about. We're here. We're here for you.
You said something about that we suffer because we're separate, like we experience ourselves as separate. And I experienced that as like my ego telling me, I'm the only one having this experience. It's just me. I'm waiting right now for some medical test results, and there's that feeling of like, this is my experience. I had the test. What's going to happen to me? Whatever. And if I start thinking about it, okay, just in Houston, millions of people who are here in Houston, how many hundreds or maybe thousands of people are waiting for some test result that they're maybe anxious about or praying about or could use some more support? And can I sit in that moment, and as I'm feeling compassion for myself, send compassion to those I don't know that I know are also going through the same experience? And that's like, that opens me up once again,
Your source of light. That's great. Not just for yourself, but like you said, those experiences that we have, those are our opportunities. Those are our possibilities for tapping into that depth of human emotion and transforming it into something beautiful and healing.
I like how you talked about compassion is courageous, because it's easy to think of compassion. Well, for me, it's not an activity, but I really liked how you talked about it's an activity. It is a choice, and it's courageous because for me, I can think of times when I have a choice to show myself compassion, or I can hunker down and just push through, and who cares what I'm feeling like, and just ignore, the turmoil and all this, and just get her done kind of thing. And that's where the almost self-improvement mentality, constant self-improvement mentality takes place. Whereas compassion, you have to be that courageous to just let go and just surrender into, it's okay to love yourself through this. It's okay to not try to constantly fix and improve. And of course, when I do that for myself, then maybe I don't try to fix and improve other people either, nearly as much, or see the need that anyone else needs to be fixed or improved, right?
Yeah, it involves standing up for ourselves, compassion. I think sometimes we get the idea that compassion is passive, that it just means, oh, okay, whatever you want, I'm just going to let you do it, let you be, whatever. But yeah, if we're going to sustain life and nurture well-being, sometimes that means saying no to violence and war and oppression and injustice and racism and everything that undermines the dignity and nobility of each individual human being on this planet.
Yeah, taking a stand for compassion is a powerful stance to have in the world. Thank you both so much.
Oh, it's great having
It's a great
you.
time.
We'll take in all that has been shared and what's shown up in our hearts as we turn to prayer. Once again, breathing in, centering into your heart space. And that heart of compassion for self and others. That in this consciousness, we bring to mind those that we would like to include in our circle of compassion, in our prayers of healing, of blessing, of understanding and harmony and peace. This is our opportunity to speak those names, to add that vibrational energy into the space of love, wisdom, and compassion, so we can hold it all together in the awareness that we are one. Let's speak those names now. We are grateful in knowing that this love extends out to those we've held in prayer, out into the world. Gratitude for the power of prayer working in and through our lives, the lives of all beings, to uplift, to heal, to bring us all together, knowing we are never alone. In God we are always one. So it is, so we let it be. Amen and amen.
And now let us join together with this powerful and compassionate prayer, our metta practice. By the power of this practice, may all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they know the sacred joy that arises in the space beyond suffering. May they rest in equanimity that knows no grasping or hatred. May they experience the equality of all beings. May my practice be of benefit to all.
Namaste.